Hi everyone, we're going to be talking about poetry this week, so I just wanted to share with you a few poems and poets that are popular in children's literature. But first I like this quote: "Poetry should be like fireworks, packed carefully and artfully, ready to explode with unpredictable effects." So keep in mind as we're learning about poetry that usually poetry sometimes is meant to be read out loud and shared. Sometimes it's supposed to be read quietly by yourself and just internalized. Either way, at the elementary level, poetry should play with language. Sometimes they're not cognitively able to understand some of the deeper poetry, and so it's really language based. You can find among children's literature books that are written to get them to start thinking about poetry in a more adult way, but mostly you'll see poetry at the children's literature level like this, where it gives kids a chance to play around with rhyme and the way language can sound, and it usually involves humor. So this is a very popular one with poems like this. Sometimes they link it to music, like this one is. The illustrations, I think, are a little bit surreal, but kids seem to like it. This one's a quite popular poem in that book called Stinky Stinky Diaper Change, to the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Here's Jack Prelutsky. Prelutsky is a poet that is quite popular. He's got a few books. And again, written in rhyme. You can find children's literature that's not written in rhyme, but for the most part, it is written in rhyme. This one had some fun illustrations. Sorry, I bounced around. This is from that same book, where it focuses on poems about school. And another. So those are quite fun. Jack Prelutsky is known for having some great poems, and the other one was Alan Katz. So it'll be interesting to see which poetry and poets you guys bring out to our attention this week. One thing I wanted to mention was in the upper grades, and especially at the middle school and high school levels, is the idea of slam poetry. Slam poetry is when you perform in front of an audience a poem that is supposed to kind of have an angry edge, and so there's something ironic or something that you're not happy about, and then you perform it as a slam. And then instead of clapping, you're supposed to applaud or snap. You're supposed to snap your fingers. My son likes to do this in his middle school a lot. There aren't that many books about slam poetry, so it's very hard to find a slam that is appropriate for kids, but a lot of teachers in the upper grades have kids perform slam poetry to each other by just reading a poem, like a Shel Silverstein poem. And I'm surprised I left him off here, so he'll probably be brought up this week, but sometimes they just read a poem in an angry way. But that's one thing that I'm kind of working on as an author, that there needs to be more slam poetry available for kids. And the other idea about poetry that I like is a poem in your pocket. I've seen teachers do this where at all times while kids are studying the poetry unit or whenever they want during the school year, teachers like to keep a poem in their pocket, and upon request any child can say, read me your poem, and they can pull it out and perform it at any time. So middle school English teachers usually like to do this poem in your pocket idea, but it's really fun to always be on call to the kids. Here are two poems. Ken Nesbitt is a great children's literature poet, and also Eric Ode, and both of those show that usually humor is involved and topics that kids would enjoy. Anyway, let's see what you guys think. Let's name some poets that we all like this week.